Hi everyone, welcome back to the tutorial series, and today we're going to be putting a few more things together, expanding on the macro functionality to be able to switch layouts or keymaps from using macros. So for example, we're going to start with a numpad and then just have a quick function, a macro call to be able to completely go from a numpad to arrow keys or macros or something else. So let's go into the program and see what we need to do for doing that. So let's call it like a switcher or something like that. So our keymap switch. So let's go and create a new folder, call it keymap switch. Oops. Keymap switch, and then we're gonna start first. Gonna copy the macros here. So we're gonna go and take these two, copy that to our keymap switch, paste that there. I'm actually gonna go and copy something else. I think we had that in a tap and hold. So I'm gonna say this default or the empty one is gonna be completely empty. So, and then this one, I'm gonna put that as completely empty as the start. Now this is the one piece that I will need to remove. Now the setup keymap, the macros and all that. So this, what we need to do now is just say we need to add a couple more defines here. So we're gonna go define, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna call that keymap default, and I'm gonna call it, this is gonna be mckca, and then I'm gonna go and create a new well, let's consider default. I'm going to say numpad. Then I'm going to go macros maybe. Switch to macros. Let's go to, let's just say arrows maybe. And then maybe let's add another one for shortcuts. And I'm gonna have D and C. So that's gonna be interesting enough. So we've got essentially 4 macros that we're creating here. Now let's go and make sure that we've got those case statement created for these here. So we've got all of these already there. So let's just add, we've got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's clean this up here. Now if we go here, I'm gonna say numpad. So smile stays, numpad, macros, arrows, and then shortcuts. Okay, so now I need to change whatever I'm actually calling. So what I'm going to do in these calls is a little bit different. So right now I don't have any keymaps set up in here. I actually need to at least set something up. So let's go into one that we call layers. Toggles, tap and hold. Let's just go. Do we have anything here? Yeah, that'll do. So and I'll just go copy this here, and you will see what I'm doing there. So copy that into completely different. Now I'm gonna go and say I'm gonna call this this layer there. I'm gonna delete that altogether. And then this, I'm gonna call this to be this layer. Now it's not L1. It's gonna have to be this one here, or my L0. I'm gonna call it L0. There you go. Now I'm gonna go back. No, not this one. This one. L0. Press this and this, so it essentially loads. So I'm gonna call setup keymap. What is this here? These are arrows. Okay, and there's actually a layer 1, so I'll need to set up a layer 1 as well. And then this is, I'm going to put something else because there's no layer 2. Okay, so what I need is, so insert, delete, arrows. So what would be useful there? Escape, delete. I've got delete, enter, insert, delete, delete, enter. Let's just have another enter here. So up, down, left, right, home, end. That sounds reasonable. Page up, page down. Escape. Let's put NO here so there's no delete. Here, layer 1. Okay, so that's like, just call this as arrows there. We've got layer 1, so we're going to need a layer 1 here as well. And this is going to be, I'm going to call it this. Call it layer 1. Copy that and put that here, layer 1. So now well, let's just do something else here. So on here for the layer 1, let's make it as a switcher for that layer 1 between, and I'm gonna go layer 1 there. So KC, don't put anything. I'm gonna leave it empty for almost everything except I'm gonna put Numpad being the first one, and I'm gonna have, maybe call it macros. Let's call it arrows. What's our last one? Shortcuts. And let's actually put some interesting other things that we may have around in our, so let's just see here. I had, there we go, print battery and print info. That's a kind of like interesting set of macro. There we go. So let's just put these two here, print info, print battery for these two here. So let's just do that. Okay, let's just clean that up. Oops, maybe a little bit too much. Oh, no, that was too much. There we go. Okay, the different then there and then layer 1. So layer 1 is interesting. We got this, and this is the setup with the arrows. So now what we need to do is whenever we call this, and we're gonna go and say the arrows is gonna be calling this. Setup keymap arrows, there you go. Now what we need in here is a function just to say Very similar to this. Set up keymap arrows. Then what we need is to get it to call something. So this one is good. Delete, remove that, arrows. Let's go here. So we've got one set up arrows. So what we're gonna do is just say, do we want the arrows first? Sure, let's just call the arrows by default. So by default is gonna call this one. Now we've got a few more macros. So this one, so shortcuts, macros, numpad. So what we need to do is create a few more of these functions. Let's call one for my numpad. And my numpad is just a plain base. So let's call that as being my base here. And then arrows, numpad. And then the layer one is going to be the same, but this one's going to be a bit different. We're going to go layer one here, and then we've got to remove these curly brackets, so we're good here. So that's our numpad. And the layer one stays the same. This layer gets called, so we're good. So we've got set up numpad. So we're gonna have numpad here, and essentially need to remove that. And again, set up numpad. We need to copy it so that this it knows what to do. Then we need to create two more. So we've got numpad. Let's just do the macros. So set up numpad. So we're gonna have set up macros. I'm gonna set up shortcuts. Okay, so macros. So set up macros. I need to define that. Control C. So I said macros. So let's go and pick up our macro here, which was, am I editing the wrong one? I got a feeling I am. No, it's not. Okay, so macros, get this layer one shortcut. Yes, I'm editing the wrong one. So I'm gonna go Control C, key map the key switch, just move it over there. Then the macros. So if I just open up macros, yeah, right. So don't save that one. There it is. Okay, so let's go back and reopen the macros, and then this is our macro that we want. So we're gonna go Control C, switch here for the macros. So we're gonna go like this, and we're gonna copy our layer one here and remove these guys from there. Okay. Oh yeah, so the macro that I had earlier is getting messed up, so just copy it over here. And then we've got 3 unsaved files including. So the macros here, yeah, it's don't save. There it is. Okay, so now we've got only these 2 unsaved files, which is good. Okay, so we've got the keymap.h with and then this one. So we need the so we've got the arrows, the numpad. So now we've got the void with the macros. And then what else have we got missing? And these macros are here. Good. So there's only one left, which is the shortcuts. So let's go and create that one. So shortcuts, we're gonna go copy that, move that here. Column, so this one is good. So we're gonna go save. So we're okay, good. So now we go on here. So shortcuts. So where did we have the shortcuts last time? So last time the shortcuts were on our mod keys. So here's a couple of mod keys were these GUI ones. So let's kind of grab those and go into here. So shortcuts. So let's just go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm gonna copy that down to 6, 7, 8. So this way. And then copy everything to be don't do anything, but then except these are going to be shortcuts. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got an example of a shortcut here. Okay, so shortcuts with a switch over to the keyboard there, the different layouts. Load layer, then we've got user macros, then the user macros whenever we go to the numpad. Okay, so let's just make sure it all compiles fine. This one, mod keys is not needed, so we've got the 2 here. So let's go CD Windows. So it's not macros, it is, what is it this time? Keymap switch. Now, I might not be surprised there's something missing, but let's see. Okay, it's all compiled fine. So let's just summarize what we've done. So we've created 1, 2, 3, 4 different functions that are similar to the setup keymap. Now this setup keymap is the one that automatically gets called whenever we boot up the keyboard. But then these other ones can be called by the setup keymap or by macros. We've set up 4 macros, essentially defined 4 macros to be like anchored on A, B, C, D here. We've got some our pre-existing macros from last time around. And then when we go into the keymap, what we actually see here is we've got plain nothing. We call the arrows at first. So this is our arrows function. So if I minimize that, then we've got a numpad as well. So this all numbers. Now of note, there's all that layer 1 on everybody. Now we've got a setup keymap macros, again layer 1 in the corner, and it's all again all the same. So, and then we've got shortcuts. Now if you look at the macros, we've got different macros from last time. We've got 4 new macros with the markers or the macros that we've actually been calling, that we've defined, and we're calling the functions. So now so we've had a successful compilation. So now let's go and flash this. So commit and flash, and it's not macros this time. It is keymap switch. Keymap switch to the platform on the same COM33. Okay, so we're compiled. So we're just going to go into the notepad here. Oops. Go. And then let's make that go bigger. Sorry for your eyes. Now, I'm just going to actually just kind of remind you what we've got here. So the numpad, the macros, the arrows, and the shortcut. So when it starts, it actually starts with what? It starts with the arrows first. So let's just go and see if we've got arrows, and let me just make it a bit more. So it starts with the arrows, so I'm going to go up, 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 down, down, down. So we're actually on arrows. Now let's go and switch over to a different. So we've got, let's just go to the numpad. So layer 1, the first one. So now we should be on a numpad. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now let's go to the macros. So this one, macros. So we've got our curly brackets and our different numbers, or git add. Oh, let's just switch that back to the arrows. So this macro, this one here. So now we should be on the arrows. Then let's just go to the shortcuts. And the shortcuts, if you remember, it plays with the Windows shortcut. So this arrow 1. So let's go get the calculator, which would be our shortcut number 2. So let's just go number 2. Here's a calculator. So I think we're actually set. So what we've done here is pretty cool when you think of it. So we're completely changing the layout or the key map by just calling a macro. And then so we've got this, and then we could actually even have like an even different macro, which is like, here's our voltage on the battery, which is just charging up. It's like just there. And then we could say, here's a keyboard. Oh, I guess I typed it twice. Okay, well, and then so that's like a something useful. Then we can just go again, like back to the numpad, and then just get numbers. So yeah, so it's pretty cool. So what we've got here is a keyboard that we can completely change the layout by simply calling a macro. So if we want to change from, for example, from Colmac to QWERTY, Dvorak, or even completely different if you've got like a gaming layout that you want to set up, well, you just like call a macro, poof, it just switches everything over, and then you're set. Now, one thing, if it goes to sleep, and whenever it restarts, it'll be again in that default layer, so you gotta switch back again. But if it's connected to a computer and you constantly use it, you'll be fine. So there's actually like some more advanced macro functionality to be able to dynamically change things. So yeah, pretty cool, eh? Well, so this is it for now, and I guess next time I'd like to get some of your suggestions on what other tutorial you'd like to have queued up for this. I've got in mind to essentially set up a keyboard from scratch using all the different functionality we've got here. But for specific functionality, is there any tutorials you guys would like to actually have me have a stab at and actually show you how to do? Okay, well, put some comments down below, and then I'll be keeping an eye on things. Thanks again, and see you next time.